Suzdal, Kostroma, Sochi, Novosibirsk, Yekaterinburg.
I adore this one.
They wake up early in the morning, go to parks and do yoga. It's not me, unfortunately.
Oh, why?
Vladivostok, Murmansk.
Oh, really?
So a lot of people are reading Russian literature. And that has been always the story about India-Russia culture.
What do you like the most in your life in Russia?
Like one old friend is better than two new friends.
Because they are so different.
Ufa, Ekaterinburg, there's always a very positive view about Russia in our country.
Hello, my dear friends. This is a podcast, Friendship Without Limits, a new project about the life of young foreigners in Russia. We shoot at the National Research Nuclear University MEPhI in Moscow. More than 1,000 international students from all over the world study at MEPhI, who will become the main characters of our project. Together, we will answer the question, what exactly Russia attracts foreigners, find out what surprises our country had brought them, and discover the wonderful world of other cultures. This podcast is being implemented with the support of the Rosatom State Corporation as a part of the development program until 2030. And today our guest is from beautiful sunny India, Soumojit. Hi, thank you a lot for coming and filming with us.
It's always my pleasure to be with you at this podcast, Tanya.
I'm very happy to hear that. So the first question will be, how did you know about Russia? How did you decide to study in Russia? And why it's MEPhI in particular?
It's actually an interesting story because when I was in school, I did not know anything about education in Russia. I was not also planning to study in Russia. But I had my father's friend. He also studied in Russia, in Astrakhan, and his wife is a Russian who works at the Russian embassy in India.
Oh, I see.
So she told my mom and my dad that there's a very good opportunity to go and study in Russia. If you want, he can study there in free. So my parents were also interested in this, and we decided that we should try. So the only problem was that we had to write an exam, an Olympiad, and only if we passed that Olympiad, we would be allowed to study in Russia. And thankfully, I passed that exam, and I was given the choice to either study my field of economic security or information security. So I never had a choice of studying nuclear. And then I had to look for universities that I could study in. And when I was looking for those universities, I saw that MEPhI has a very good program. And then it was all God's work that we found ourselves here today.
And so how does your family and friends who are staying in India feeling about your studies in Russia?
It's actually, again, a very interesting thing that my parents are happy that I am getting some international exposure, living with so many people from so many different countries. And it's quite exciting to do that as well. But my friends don't believe that I'm studying.
I see.
They really think that I just came to Moscow to just party and enjoy with my other friends. They don't see the hard part where I am failing my exams or crying in my room. But all they see is when I am putting a story that I've gone to Sochi or I've gone to some other city and how I am enjoying with other people. So obviously there is a dark side and the light side to it. But most of them are either happy or maybe jealous.
So they are thinking that you are having a party for how many years are you staying in Russia?
Now it's my 7th year. So I guess
my God.
For them, I believe it's like I'm having the time of my life.
I see.
I couldn't agree more.
I see. So what stereotypes are common between Indian people about Russia? You heard something maybe?
Firstly, it's very well known that Russia is a very cold country.
Mm-hmm.
I believe it will be common for every international student who ever comes to Russia. But at the same time, we have a long history of relations with Russia. Mm-hmm. It goes back not just to the era of Soviet Union, but even at the time of the Russian Empire, where a lot of travelers from Russia have come to India, have lived in India and made paintings, written books about India.
Oh, really?
Yes. So recently there was a very good exhibition at Tsaritsino Palace, where it showed about the cultural history of India and Russia.
Oh, that's
so there
great.
Also you could go and see a lot of history between our countries that has been over 5,000, 6,000 years. And that is why I believe that there's always a very positive view about Russia in our country. And obviously, President Putin is very famous in our country. He is counted as one of the best leaders in the world. Like, obviously, we love our Prime Minister Narendra Modi, but most probably in the second place, we would put President Putin.
I see. Talking about artists, I know only one in particular. It's Nikolai Rerich.
Yes.
Yes, I think that he's very famous among Indian people. And also there was an exhibition in Moscow recently with his artworks, and I was so impressed about his life in India and of course his paintings with such beautiful views. And speaking about Russia, what regions or maybe cities have you already visited there?
I must say that I am very lucky in this regard because of my involvement in a lot of different projects. I have visited a lot of places in Russia. Like starting from the nearest place that I've been to is Obninsk, because I studied there for 1 year where I learned my Russian language. So Obninsk, Kaluga, then I have gone to Vladimir, Suzdal, Kostroma, then I've gone to Sochi, Novosibirsk, Yekaterinburg, Ufa, Vladivostok, Murmansk, Perm. So, and even I believe same in lot of more places. Like we have definitely gone to Ekaterinburg, we have definitely gone to Kafkaz, I think Makachkala we have been to. Mm-hmm. So I have traveled a lot around Russia.
What did you like the most?
There is a different memory attached to all of these places. One of my most favorite memories is when I went with my friend to a trip to Murmansk, where we saw the northern lights.
Yes.
And it's something that is only visible there, so it's like special in my heart. And then I also have a good memory of going to a place called Tyumen. It's not a very famous place where people go, but the natural beauty there, because it's mostly forest and small hills, it's amazing.
Our mountains I also adore, because I really like Yekaterinburg. I have visited for several times, and I really like the city.
It's amazing. It's like, although there is some sad history related to the city, but in generally, it's a very beautiful city.
Actually, I think that you have visited a lot more places in Russia that average Russian person have visited during the whole his life. So you're really very lucky. You had the opportunity to see the whole beauty of our big country.
I think, although I have been very lucky to visit so many places, I think there are still so many places that I have not visited.
Of course, yes.
Like I have been dreaming, literally, of visiting Altai. For a very long time.
Me too.
But for some reason or other, I cannot go to Altai. So I have been dreaming of also visiting the volcanoes in Kamchatka. I haven't had the chance. Also want to go and visit Karelia. It's a place a lot of people have been telling me that we should go and visit. There is a very nice lake and there's a beautiful forest and all. Also haven't had the chance. So maybe these are the places. But I would suggest that if somebody wants to try something new, they should also try and go to a place called Kalmykia, because it's often not discussed so much in Russian tourism. But if you go during spring, I have heard that there is a very big field of flowers, and there's a lot of Buddhist culture there. So I think it is one of the places also I would like to go.
That's great. And talking about Russian regions, every region has its own traditional costume, and there is such thing in Russia that I think not all the people, not a lot of people know in particular what costume the people that live in this region originally wear. So talking about India, I know that there are still a lot of people wearing a traditional costume like sari and men's clothes during their daily life. Is it true?
Yeah, it's very true. Actually, outside the big cities, you will always find people who are generally wearing traditional clothing. So in the north side of the country, you will find that a man is generally wearing dhoti, And in the south, you will find a person wearing lungi. Almost the same thing. It's like a loin cloth covered around the legs. And on the top, it may be something called kurta. And in that kurta, it's like it can have different design depending on which region the person is from. And it has very good colors and designs. And depending on where you are from, it may also have some specific attire attached to it. So like you can wear something like this and something like additional clothes.
I really like your outfit today, by the way.
Thank you so much. This is traditionally it used to be worn by our first Prime Minister, Mr. Nehru, and now with our current Prime Minister, Mr. Modi, has made it very famous. Earlier it used to be called as Nehru jacket. Now it's called Modi jacket, and it has a specific print on it. So it is a traditional print, and right now people around the country wear it in all occasions, all festivals.
Oh, I see. And of course, another traditional feature of every country is food. So tell me, please, what do you like from Russian cuisine, and what is your favorite dish from Indian cuisine? Because they are so different.
Yes, I believe that the difference between Indian and Russian cuisine is massive. For us Indian people, any food that does not have any spices may not be always called food. So this is a problem in Russia because the food is very different. It's mostly salt and pepper in most cases. But Russian food also has a very beautiful sweet part. A lot of Russian people eat a lot of sweets, I have seen.
Yes.
So that's a good thing. Like I also have a sweet tooth, so I really enjoy trying different kind of desserts in different places.
What is your favorite one?
I have come to love something called syrniki.
Oh, yes.
But with condensed milk. It's Gushan Malako, I think it's called.
Yeah.
So with syrniki with condensed milk is one of my favorites. Another thing that I really love is olyadi, also with condensed milk or maybe honey, and zapekanka. Also, like it's all of them are almost similar things.
Yeah.
But by taste, it's quite tasty. One thing that I really love I've tried here first time in Russia was when I had gone to a place called Salehard. It's in Yamalo-Nenetsky Oblast, and there I tried some reindeer. Olen.
Yeah.
Yes, so I tried reindeer there, and I must say that it was something a nice experience.
I see. And what about Indian cuisine?
I actually do not have any specific favorites in Indian cuisine. Not because I don't like or something is wrong, but because it's extremely difficult to choose. Because Indian food is so wide and diverse, depending on which type of restaurant you choose or what kind of cuisine they are serving. From Awadhi food to North Indian food to South Indian food to Maharashtrian food to Bengali food, it's completely all different. But if I had to go to a restaurant and maybe order something that would I call say my comfort food, it would be dal makhani. It's like pulses made with a lot of spices and butter. And our normal bread, it's called naan. So naan and dal makhani would generally be my comfort food. And if I just want to celebrate, there is a very, very important part of Indian cuisine. It's called biryani. It's like a rice dish where with meat and does not have vegetables, just with meat and rice. And it's supposed to be one of the most famous dishes of India.
And going back to traditional things, I can't help but ask about yoga. So in Russia, it's kind of just a physical activity, but also for some people it's something like a spiritual path. And what about India? What is yoga for modern Indians?
I think yoga is a very integral part for all Indians, but depends on what you mean by yoga. There is a physical part to it, which is the exercises that people do, which is generally what is known around the world. But there is also a thing called yoga on how you live your life. So there are things like Raj Yoga, Karma Yoga, depending on how the philosophy of living your life is also a type of yoga.
And behavior, I think.
Yes. So, for example, to give you an idea about Karma Yoga is the philosophy that whatever you do, you should not think about results. All you should think about is what you are doing. The rest will be taken care of by God.
That has sense, really.
Yeah, so that you don't worry about what will happen or what has happened. You just do what you're doing in the moment. So that's Karma Yoga. There's also Raj Yoga and other ways. And general yoga right now has become very popular around the world because we see that on 21st June every year now by the United Nations has been announced International Yoga Day, where there are big yoga sessions all over the world in different countries on big parks they are organizing. So for that, definitely physical fitness has become a big part of people's life now, and because of that, yoga has also become a big popular part. And for us, for many people in India, they wake up early in the morning, go to parks and do yoga. It's not me, unfortunately, but many other people.
I see. I also really like yoga, and unfortunately, I haven't practiced for several years, but now I'm coming back, so I really think that I will succeed in it.
I really wish you the best, because it's something you will enjoy after some time. I have not been able to find that enjoyment in my life, but I hope it will find it.
I see. So the three things that I think show a culture of any country the most are movies, books, and music. So if we're talking about movies, I think that a lot of Russian people haven't seen many of them, and still older generation think that Bollywood movies is something like Zita and Gita, if you heard about that.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So what movie would you recommend to watch for a person who haven't seen anything from Bollywood?
Actually, you have raised a very interesting part, because there's another movie called Disco Dancer or Tansor Disco, which is known by every Russian everywhere. I don't know how, but it's very famous. So actually in India, it's not just Bollywood. Bollywood is the section of the movie industry which makes movies in Hindi. There's also the movie industry which makes in different other languages, and they are also quite successful. So you have the Tamil language movies, you have the Malayalam language movies, you have Andhra language movies, you have Bengali language movies. So depending on which region you are from, you must have different favorites. So what I can tell you is one movie that I believe has all the parts of what an Indian movie would be is called My Name is Khan.
Oh, I know that one.
In Russian, it's called Mene Zavut Khan. And I suggest everyone to watch that movie. There's another movie called Three Idiots.
I adore this one. This is one of my favorite, really.
So if you are a college student anywhere in the world, I believe you can relate to Three Idiots.
And especially for MEPhI students,
MEPhI
it will be
students,
perfect.
Yeah, perfect. And there are also a lot of good movies in Malayali language. One of them was Lucifer. It came out a few years ago, 2017, I think. And there's a very good Tamil movie on boxing, Indian culture of boxing, Sarpattu Parambarai. And I will give I think somewhere in the podcast you will see the name below. And there it is also a very good movie. So actually the culture of movies in India and the Western countries is actually a bit different.
Why?
Because in the Western countries, when you are watching a movie, especially in the European side of the movies, you would see how about a person's life, how much it matches the reality of everybody who is the audience, how it is based on sadness or troubles or misgivings of a person's life. But Indian culture is absolutely different. Indian culture is not about what is actually there, but what can be. That's why you see so much dancing and singing in our movies. Because when people watch our movies, they don't want to come and see what is sad with their life or what is not good in their life. They want to enjoy their life because our country is a developing country. For a lot of people, life is very hard. They are working 8, 10, 12 hours in very excruciating conditions. So when they go to a movie hall on the weekend or in the evening of a very long, hard day, they want to escape from their general life and see something beautiful and extravagant that does not happen in their general life. So that is why, as the special part about Indian movies is that there's always a happy end. So there is even a quote about this in a very famous movie called Om Shanti Om, that if it's not a happy end, then it's definitely not the end.
I see. And actually, I also have my personal recommendation about Bollywood movies. So if you haven't seen anything from Indian movies, I highly recommend you to watch Bhansali works such as Devdas, Padmavati, Barjao Mastani, and I'm convinced that Barjao Mastani has the most stunning, the most beautiful dancing scene that have ever been filmed. So, and what about music? Are there any famous Indian artists that you like to listen to?
I believe the most famous Indian artist that we have is A.R. Rahman. He has not just won all the prizes in India, but he has won all the prizes in the world. That includes an Oscar for the movie Slumdog Millionaire, which is probably a very famous movie around the world. So A.R. Rahman songs are very popular around everywhere. Also, a lot of Bollywood music is popular everywhere. A lot of people listen to those music. Singers like Sonu Nigam or Shan, or right now Arijit Singh has been a very popular musician.
Do you listen to something from maybe Russian composers or Russian artists?
Yes, I try to listen. I try to experiment with a lot of Russian artists because with time I am actually studying with a Russian group. So all my friends are Russian, and when we go to some parties, then I need to know the Russian song to sing along. So yes, I see that Johnny is very famous in Russia.
Yes.
When we were in the first year, or people who are in school, late years of school, they really enjoy other rap music in Russia. It's quite popular. I have come to find that music of Basta is also very famous.
I see, yeah.
So songs like Sansara, you sing anywhere, people will start singing with you. Recently there was a song called Nazare, which is also very famous around the world. And it's very strange, but even when I talk about Russian music, there is also traditional Russian music.
Yes.
Like Kalinka, and Kalinka probably is I think the most popular one. And we even have an Indian version of Kalinka.
Oh, really?
Yes. So like the song starts from Russian Kalinka, and then it becomes like to an Indian song.
Please send me it. I want to listen to that. What about literature? Does India has their own maybe famous authors? And one more question. Does Indian students and kids study Russian literature in school? Maybe something from...
Absolutely, absolutely. We study a lot of Russian literature in school because it's part of the school curriculum. So when I was in school, we had studied War and Peace of Leo Tolstoy. There are a lot of books of Chekhov and Dostoevsky in our school curriculum. So a lot of people are reading Russian literature. About famous Indian authors, there are many of them. The one I like personally is Ashwin Sanghi. Ashwin Sanghi writes a lot of books on different religious perspectives. It's like fictional stories, but they have a lot of interesting stuff. And in non-fiction, I like a person called Shashi Tharoor. He also writes on history and culture and economics. So also a good read. And in terms of Russian books that I have read myself, I am a big fan of Dostoevsky.
I see.
I have read The Idiot, the brothers Karamazov. And I also like actually the short stories, which I think it's like when we think about Russian literature, we always think about the big books. Tolstoy really. Is like this big book.
Yes.
You study Dostoevsky is like these big books, and all these famous literature people are writing big books. So there are also very nice short stories. There is a book called Light Breathing by Ivan Bunin. Very nice. There is also my favorite of Chekhov's short stories. It's called Gooseberries. Or I think in Russian it's called Kryzhnikov.
Kryzhovnik.
Kryzhovnik. In Russian it's called Kryzhovnik. and it's also one of my most favorites. It's a part of a 3-part stories about love and other stories.
Yeah.
So those are also very beautiful books, and I love about Russian literature.
Mm-hmm. And talking about life in Russia and life in India, what do you think are the differences in Russian mentality and Indian mentality?
I believe there is a lot of difference, but at the same time there is a lot of things that are same. It's something I like is the way Russian people would try to find solution of anything. In India, it's called jugaad, where we also figure out any problem there is, we will figure it out. Somehow we will figure it out. Something we will do, but it will work out. So it's the Russian and Indian ingenuity. At the same time, there is a lot of, I would say that Russian mentality is a bit more aggressive than Indian mentality.
Maybe.
We are more, I won't say it in a negative way, but it's more like we are more passive than maybe a Russian person. To give you a very interesting example, in Russia and in India, so in India, the first, we have a very famous person called Mahatma Gandhi.
Of course.
Yes, so around the world he is very famous. And Mahatma Gandhi told us that if somebody hits you on the right cheek, yes, show him the left cheek and don't hit him back.
We have the same point in Orthodox Christianity, which is, I think, the main religion of Russia. So that's quite a common thing.
Yes. And when I told it to my Russian friends, they called me Tarpila, which means that I'm too patient. And instead they told me that they told me another quote in Russian. So I will say it in Russian first and then I will translate. They said that, если драка неизбежна, надо быть первым.
Yeah.
That means if a fight is, you cannot escape a fight, then you should hit first. So that is a difference in mentality.
See?
But
quite funny,
one
really.
thing that we definitely share that India has always appreciated about Russia, and in Russia there is also another saying, कि один старый друг лучше новых друг. Like one old friend is better than two new friends. And that has been always the story about India-Russia culture and relations. That we have been such old friends always, that Russia and India has always supported each other for a very long time.
What do you like the most in your life in Russia?
Difficult question. There's a lot of things I like in my life. One thing I definitely like is how clean and nice the environment is. Because I come from a city, Delhi, which is the world's most polluted city. So when I come here, I take a very nice deep breath. So nice. But other than that, the people are very nice. I think a lot of times it is said that Russian people are too cold and don't want to interact. But I have not seen that yet. Maybe it takes them time to open up to a new person. But generally, once they open up, they treat you like family.
I'm really happy to hear that from a foreigner, really. And the one question that I want to ask every person that comes to our podcast, how do you see your future, and is there a dream in your life that you want to fulfill?
I do have a dream. I do have a dream to help as many people in the world as possible. I don't know how I will do it, but I know that I will do it. So let's see how it goes.
I wish you the best here.
Thank you so much.
And now, the last part of our podcast, we have 3 Blitz questions, and I would ask you to answer in one word or in one sentence. So, describe the Russia in one word.
Beautiful.
Great. Studying in MEPhI for you is?
Depression.
Нет, не надо. Мы это вырежем, закрасим в черно-белый. Is that because of really hard studying process?
Yes. You know, because MEPhI especially is one of the hardest universities in Russia. Because I see my friends who are in different universities called Ruden or Economic University, Plekhanov and all these other universities. And they are really enjoying their lives. When I go to class for 5 days on 5 periods from 8:30 to 5, my friends have only 2 classes in a week, which is a big difference.
See. Well, I think studies in MEPhI are worth.
Are definitely worth the pain. If you survive, that is, if you survive.
Yeah, agree. And the last question, please name 3 main qualities of a Russian person.
Soft inside, hard outside. A person with open arms. And finally, I would say probably a person trustworthy.
Soumojit, thanks a lot for coming to our podcast. I think that we had a really beautiful talking, and our student will know more about India now. So stay tuned and watch our next episode of podcast Friendship Without Limits.
Thank you so much.